Welcome back to Higher Ground, a special 5-part series on neurodivergent relationships with Dr. Kathy Marshak. I'm your host, Dr. Kathy, and this is episode 3. The title is When They Come After You, the Cost of Exposing the Truth. In the last 2 episodes, we explored the devastating power of gossip and the pain of proving the truth, only to find that it doesn't always set you free. Today, we're diving into an even harsher reality. When standing for the truth doesn't just cost you relationships, it makes you a target. What happens when people don't just dismiss you, but actively try to destroy you? What happens when exposing wrongdoing leads to retaliation? That's what we're talking about today, and the title of the episode is When They Come After You, the Cost of Exposing the Truth. Is the cost worth it? So the backlash of speaking the truth. Exposing the truth doesn't always mean people will thank you. It often means they'll come after you. People in power will do anything to protect their status, even if that means silencing you. Retaliation can take many forms: smear campaigns, online harassment, legal threats, and even character assassination. Years ago, I stood behind a client who had discovered child pornography on her husband's computer. Worse, she found a hidden drive behind a ceiling tile under a gun with even more child pornography, including photos of their 4-year-old daughter. The FBI got involved, but through a legal technicality, this man was never charged. Furious and determined to get even, he decided to ruin me. He created a website in my name, posting lies and derogatory information about me, twisting my divorce and the estrangement from my daughters into a weapon against me. He kept this up for 10 years until he finally stopped paying for the domain name. That's right, he used my name as a URL, and I couldn't take it back. There's no legal recourse. This is the price of standing up to powerful, manipulative people. And it's a price too many of us are forced to pay. Now, I suppose you can't imagine that standing up for a mother and a child who were victims of child pornography couldn't have been wrong or couldn't have been bad, and it wasn't. But the price was 10 years of a website that this man hosted to get even. So full-scale retaliation can escalate beyond gossip. It can infiltrate legal, professional, and religious institutions. When an abuser is highly persuasive, they enlist others to attack their target. So here's another story. Howard didn't just lie to the children, he enlisted the legal community to work against me. He spoke privately to City Prosecutor Josephine Townsend, telling her that I was a narcissist who had no respect for authority. This made her all the more determined to punish me. And Howard's divorce attorney, Danny Liebman, was so convinced that I was evil that she called my attorney, Bob Yosef, and screamed at him, "How can you represent that bitch?" Later, Danny went on to become a judge in Clark County. Howard was so influential that even 20 years later, his former law partner, Mike Rowe, told one of my clients that I was batshit crazy. But he didn't stop there. Howard filed complaints with my licensing board, trying to destroy my professional reputation and career. Then, in his annulment petition with the Catholic Church, despite not being Catholic himself, he described me as, quote, an unfit mother who alienated her own children, a narcissist with undiagnosed mental disorders, and someone totally incapable of a loving relationship ever. He was so convincing that the local Oregon Archdiocese planned to hold a Catholic trial. They were going to have a trial with witnesses lined up to testify against me. It didn't seem to matter how outrageous the complaints against me were. People ran with the gossip, and Howard capitalized on it. Once a rumor takes hold, people will believe what they want to believe, no matter how absurd. This was not just about revenge. It was about erasing my credibility, my work, and my identity, erasing me completely. how to survive, actually, retaliation. Retaliation can feel overwhelming, and it certainly did to me. I was in tears many nights. But it's designed to break you. Don't let it. Don't let it break you. The people who attack you want you to react emotionally and impulsively. Instead of fighting fire with fire, step back and choose a response that protects your dignity and your future. So here's the key lessons from dealing with retaliation and that kind of gossip. Document everything. Keep records of harassment, threats, or false accusations. It's not that all this documentation will eventually prove you right and you'll be free, but if you document everything, then you have a way to fight back. Stay the course. The more you live your truth, the more their lies will lose power over you. I lasted 10 years with that crazy website, and as it actually turned out, many people wanted to meet the woman who could survive that smear campaign. Find your support system. Isolation makes retaliation more effective. Don't face it alone. Recognize the long game. Retaliation isn't just about hurting you in the moment. It's about making you quit. Refuse to quit. You're not invisible. You count. You matter. And your love matters. For 10 years, I had to endure a man publicly smearing my name, destroying my life story, and longer than that, actually, with Howard, who continues to smear me. And he tried to turn my pain into his entertainment, but over time, something surprising happened. People started calling me not to harass me, but to book appointments. They saw what I had survived and wanted to work with a therapist who had that kind of resilience, and that's what happened with the woman who called up Mike Rowe, met with him to potentially hire him as a divorce attorney. When he told her that I was batshit crazy, she was all the more determined to work with me and not with him. The truth has a way of resurfacing even when people try to bury it. So how do you reclaim your power? The ultimate revenge is not winning a battle, but it's living well despite the war. And I know you've heard this before, and it's so easy to say and not so easy to do, but you don't have to clear your name to move forward. You only have to be true to yourself. That's how you clear your name. Be true to yourself. The best way to silence your enemies isn't to fight them. It's to thrive so loudly that their lives become irrelevant. People will try to rewrite your story. They will twist your words, turn your past into a weapon, and make you the villain in their own narrative. But here's what they don't realize. They don't get to write your ending. You do. And that's the message in this episode of the series. And in the last episode, we'll get back to how do you rewrite your own story? That's how you make your legacy. So I hope you join me for the podcast after party for this series. If today's episode spoke to you, check the schedule on my website and sign up for a live discussion. Please share this episode with anybody else who might need to hear it. Let's keep the conversation going. This was Higher Ground, a series in neurodivergent relationships with Dr. Kathy Marshak. In our next episode, episode 4, we'll talk about the hardest lesson of all, when the battle for your children is lost, and how to move forward anyway. Until then, stay strong, stay true, and keep rising to radiant empathy.